Two men in police uniforms are at my door with handcuffs. "You're under arrest," one of them says, his voice flat and dead. My stomach plummets. "Arrested for what?" I stammer, backing away, my hands trembling. That's when Sandra appears. My wife. The woman who watches baking shows and wears fuzzy pajamas every night. She glances at their badges, then at their faces, and something shifts. A flicker of ice I've never seen before. "Gentlemen," she says, her voice cold and commanding, "step back from my husband." One of them grabs my arm. And then everything blurs. I hear thuds, a sharp cry, then silence. When I look up, the two cops are on the ground, and the woman standing in our doorway radiating pure authority is not the one I married. Wow, what a start. Before we dive into how my life completely unraveled, I just want to say how much it means that you're spending your time here. Stories like this are amazing to share, and hearing your thoughts in the comments makes it a real conversation. If you're enjoying this, a quick tap of the like button and subscribing would be incredible. It helps this channel more than you know. Okay, let's get back to the moment it all began. It started with a deck, an $8,000 cedar masterpiece built exactly to the HOA specifications. It was a surprise for Sandra for our 12th anniversary. I hired Michael Carter, the best contractor in Maple Ridge, and for 3 weeks I watched our little slice of backyard paradise take shape. Sandra was speechless. "Josh," she whispered, walking barefoot on the smooth planks. This is really something." But even as our neighbors came over for a barbecue, admiring the craftsmanship, I noticed Sandra was glued to her phone. She'd smile and nod, but her fingers were flying across the screen. The violation notice arrived on Monday. A $200 per day fine for unauthorized construction exceeding maximum deck height by 6 inches. 6 inches. It was impossible. Michael had measured everything twice and even got Teresa Edwards, our HOA president, to sign off on the plans. His confusion was genuine. "Josh, that's impossible," he said. "I built to the exact specs Teresa approved." But Sandra's reaction was the strangest part. She barely looked up from her laptop. "Just tear it down and rebuild," she said, like we were discussing what to have for dinner. "It's not worth fighting Teresa over 6 inches. Trust me." Trust her? The woman who'd just spent 3 weeks pretending to be surprised about a deck I'd been planning for months? Something was definitely wrong. My neighbor, the sweet Mrs. Wilson, caught me measuring the deck later that day. 3 families, she whispered over the fence, her eyes wide with concern. 3 families left Maple Ridge after building additions. They all used the same contractor. She wouldn't say more, just shuffled back inside, leaving me with a cold knot of dread. "The same contractor, Michael? The 5-star rated Little League coaching pillar of the community?" It didn't add up. That night, I mentioned it to Sandra. She was working late again, hunched over files spread across our dining room table. "Mrs. Wilson is just lonely," she said dismissively. "She sees conspiracies everywhere." But then I noticed her files. They weren't the usual Social Security paperwork. These had photos, timestamps, and handwritten notes about meeting patterns and financial transfers. Before I could ask, she swept them into her briefcase. That night I couldn't sleep. Sandra's dismissiveness, Mrs. Wilson's warning, Teresa's sudden enforcement. It all felt choreographed. Around 2 a.m., I got up for water and noticed Sandra's car keys were gone. Her purse, too. The bed was empty. I walked to the window just in time to see our car's taillights disappearing down the street. My stomach dropped. 12 years of marriage, and I'd never once doubted her. Where does a Social Security claims processor go in the middle of the night? When she slipped back into bed at 4:30 a.m., I pretended to be asleep. She smelled of coffee and a floral perfume I didn't recognize. That's when I started looking. I'm not proud of it, but fear makes you do stupid things. I checked our credit card statements. Hotels, multiple hotels in different cities, all charged during her supposed late office hours. I found receipts tucked in her car's console, coffee shops I'd never heard of, gas stations 50 miles away. Then I found it. A purchase from a surveillance equipment store. Surveillance. My quiet, paperwork-pushing wife needed surveillance equipment. I sat in our garage, surrounded by evidence of a life I didn't recognize, and tried to make sense of it. What if it wasn't work stress? What if the deck violation, the contractor, the warnings? What if it was all connected to whatever secret she was hiding? And the most terrifying thought of all, what if she was working with them, not against them? The next morning, 30 seconds after Sandra left for work, Michael texted me. "Can I stop by? It's important." He looked like he hadn't slept in a week. "Josh, I need to show you something," he said, pulling out his phone. "I got an email last night from your wife." The email address was official-looking, a government domain. The message was short. "Proceed with original deck specifications. Standard bonus applies upon violation notice. TR." My stomach turned to ice. TR. Teresa Richards? No, wait. Teresa Edwards. "That's not all," Michael interrupted my thoughts. I cross-checked my records. "The last 3 jobs Mrs. Wilson mentioned, I got similar emails, all from variations of your wife's name. S. Roberts, Sandra R., even Roberts, HOA. He looked miserable. "Josh, I think your wife has been setting people up, including you. She tells me to build to specific measurements, I get a bonus, and then Teresa files a violation." He looked ashamed. "She paid me $500 per job." I swear, I thought it was some kind of legitimate quality control test. He was willing to scam his own husband for a profit. The room spun. That afternoon, Teresa, the HOA president, invited me over for coffee. Her house was immaculate but cold. She launched into a perfectly rehearsed performance, voice cracking as she told me a sob story about her husband dying in a construction accident. "Every violation I write," she said, tears welling up on cue, "is because I don't want another family to suffer what I suffered. I'm just trying to protect you." I almost believed her, but then I noticed her manicure. Fresh, expensive, with tiny diamonds embedded in the polish. And the coffee she served. It was a brand that cost $70 a pound. Strange for a grieving widow on a fixed income. I got home to find the final nail in the coffin. A bank statement on my desk, not ours. Sandra's private account, one I never knew existed. There was a deposit for $3,500 made every 2 weeks from something called DMK Legal Services. That was $72,000 in 6 months, tax-free and secret. Next to it was a burner phone. The texts were in code. Package delivered to Target 3. Surveillance confirms pattern. Subject unaware. Proceeding to phase 2. Was I the subject? Was my home the target? My wife wasn't a cheater. She was a criminal mastermind. My world was collapsing. My wife was a con artist in league with a corrupt HOA president and a crooked contractor. I was their next mark. I opened my laptop to email a divorce lawyer when a notification popped up. An anonymous sender. An encrypted file. My heart pounded as it opened. Inside was a treasure trove of data. Files labeled Edwards Real Estate Fraud Investigation. Video testimonies from 6 different families. Property records. And photos of Teresa, not grieving but smiling at house closings, shaking hands with realtors, a wealthy predator. The last file was a voice recording. A woman's trembling voice. "This is victim 4. Sandra Roberts helped me understand what happened. Teresa Edwards forced us out using fake violations. The contractor Michael Carter was in on it." Another voice. "Victim 2. We lost everything. Sandra said she's building a case. She's the only one who believed us." 6 families, all naming Teresa and Michael as the villains, and Sandra as their savior. My head was spinning. I grabbed my phone to call her to demand an explanation when a text lit up the screen. It was from Michael. "Emergency. Sandra just broke into my work van. Threatened me. Meet at my office now. I have security footage. Come alone. Security footage. Undeniable proof." I had to see it. Just as I rushed for my keys, one final file on the computer opened automatically. It was a video. Sandra speaking directly to the camera, her face urgent and afraid. "If you're watching this, Josh, I'm sorry for everything. But please don't trust Michael. Don't meet him anywhere alone. The video cut off, but I drove anyway. Stupid, reckless, desperate for the truth. Michael's office was above his garage. He ushered me inside, his nervous energy bouncing off the walls. "The footage is shocking," he said. He pulled up a grainy, obviously fake video. "Michael," I said slowly, "this isn't real." His face changed. "You're smarter than I thought," he sneered, reaching into his desk. He pulled out a gun. Sorry, Josh, this was supposed to be clean. You were supposed to be number 7. Just then, the doorbell rang. Heavy boots. A loud official knock. Police, open up. Michael's eyes widened. I looked through the peephole. 2 officers, but their badges looked wrong, too shiny. Then I heard her voice, authoritative and clear. Police! We have a warrant for Joshua Roberts. It was Sandra, and she was here to arrest me. I yanked the door open. These are fake cops! I yelled. He has a gun! But they pushed past me. Use force if necessary, Michael said calmly. Just as one reached for my arm, Sandra appeared. Gentlemen, she said, her voice dropping to a deadly quiet, step aside. The taller one laughed and made the mistake of grabbing her. In a blur of motion, he was face down on the porch. The other one sprinted away in terror. Michael lunged for the gun, but Sandra was faster, kicking the drawer shut on his fingers. Recording everything, she announced, pointing to a camera on her phone, including you pulling a gun on my husband. Just then, real police swarmed the property. It turned out Sandra wasn't a U.S. Marshal, but a top private investigator. The late nights, the secret phones, the money. It was all part of a 4-month sting operation to expose Teresa and Michael's real estate fraud. The email was a fake, sent by Teresa to frame Sandra. It was all a lie, just not the one I thought. We were left alone in Michael's office, now a crime scene. You made me the bait, I said, the words choked with 4 months of pain. You let me believe you were a criminal. Her professional mask crumbled. Witnesses disappear in these cases, Josh, she whispered. I couldn't risk the case. And I thought we were a team, I shot back. You didn't trust me? The detective held the car door for me later. Hell of a wife you've got there, he commented. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. Hell of a wife indeed. The question was, did I still have a wife at all, or just a stranger who had been playing a part in a case that was now finally closed? What a roller coaster. Do you think Josh should forgive Sandra? Was she a hero, or did she go too far by deceiving her own husband? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you want more stories that will keep you guessing until the very end, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on. You won't want to miss what's coming next.